So, there's an African concept that says that I am because we are. So my value, my purpose is connected with others. I grew up during the 60s. So I grew up in a space when it was important and appropriate to be socially conscious. And I very vividly remember one day looking through my parents' magazines. We used to have the little magazine rack, the kind of thing that looks like a picnic basket, and you have a bunch of magazines, the Ebony, Jet. And I was thumbing through the Jet one day, and there was a picture of Emmett Till. And I was about 5 years old when I saw that picture. And I'll never forget how it affected me. It made me think about the world that I was living in and that I was going to be growing up in. And so Emmett was killed in 1955. I think I saw the picture like in 1957. Because my mother kept those kind of magazines around. And of course, all of the events that occurred throughout our life during that period, whether it was the Montgomery bus boycott, whether it was the assassination of Medgar Evers, whether it was the Brown v. Board of Education decision, whether it was the March on Washington, or the assassination of Malcolm X, or the Black Panther Party, or the assassination of Dr. King and the Kennedy brothers. All of those things, the riots, all of those things affected how I was growing up and how I was seeing the world. The leadership of the late Muhammad Ali and his position on the draft and the excellent fighter that he was, all those things shaped me. So I would have to say that for me it started very, very early. So what the change was that my knees started bothering me. So I had to, I couldn't do the walking as I once did. Plus, personally my mother's health took a turn for the worse, so I had to reshift the focus. But there were some, when we first moved over, there were some home burglaries, some B&Es. And so that was part of the catalyst for, trying to set up this neighborhood watch concept. And so we got the sign for the block, but it was the visibility to kind of let folks know that people were looking out and to kind of get an idea of where some of the problem places may be or where they were. The kind of community that I think that I know that some of the people who started this effort have really wanted to see happen. I mean, my focus has always been, as long as I can remember being socially conscious, it's always been a both and. I can be less of service to others if I'm not well, right? And so when the circumstances are such that I'm inhibited significantly by the ability to be present for others, then I focus more inward in preparation for, again, focusing outward. So, the idea that kind of comes to my mind, it took me a little while to embrace is, for those of us who've flown on an airplane before, when they give the instructions about what to do in this instance of a crisis on the plane, they tell you if the air pressure drops and so forth, then the mask will drop down. Put your mask on first and then help the person next to you. And I'll have to tell you that there was a point in my life where that really didn't sound right. It sounded selfish. So I had to learn that if really caring about others meant that I had to care about myself and see myself as being a part of everybody else. So, there's an African concept that says that I am because we are. So my value, my purpose is connected with others and not just about me. And so the focus on self is a broader term. It's not an individual entity. It's a collective perspective. And so it's a very iterative kind of process of going in and out, in and out, in and out. So that's how I navigate.